So essentially, we are a marketplace and a management portal for adventure sports. What we are trying to do is making the discovery process, the booking process, the inquiry process for the customers easier, and at the same time, we are getting the vendors, the adventure sport vendors, out in the public eye, so they'll be more visible, they get more bookings. At the end of the day, our core essence is that something that we believe in is that adventure is something that can save humanity, because adventure in any kind of way, like it's travel, adventure sports, it has the ability of changing human perspective, and that in this day and age, it is so important. That is what we believe in, essentially. Then that is a message that we like to set out. So in terms of startup culture, being really objective, for me, it's not work, it's lifestyle, right? That is how I would imagine startups live as. It's for them, it's living their life, it's not work. And that is essentially what I would define a startup to be, where it's something that they're so driven about that nothing else matters. And when you're doing that, and when you meet similar people doing that in places like Springboard, it changes the way you work, it changes the way you interact with people, and startup is the only place where you can do that, because it's essentially your way of life becomes that way. We had to face this personally, wherein the government processes of getting legal stuff approved, it took us almost half the time that it took us to go from zero to launching a product. So those processes, the legal processes by the government, they are extremely tedious, and they're very time consuming. So that is what ate up a chunk of our time. And on the other hand, hiring is always an issue for startups, because our resources are limited. Finding proper people is extremely difficult, and the value that we can give them, the people need to be in such a way that they need to have that outlook wherein they are looking at it in terms of a startup and the life that revolves around it, not as work. So for us, hiring has always been a problem, and it still is if someone's looking out for something. One thing that would make our life easier is access to more information. Because right now there are so many, if you're talking about hiring or if you're talking about marketing, there are so many portals that talk about hiring in general. There is no dedicated information for startups, and the kind of community that we require as startups. Now, 91 Springboard is one part of that. They're giving us a location, they're giving us the ability to interact with other startups. But there's this higher thing where we need people from outside. When we are hiring, we need one platform where startups, people who are interested in startups, and startups that are looking out for people, those kind of platforms where information is easily available, dedicated to startups. That is essentially that would solve a lot of problems for us.